June 11th, 2020, 1 minute, 2020 meeting of the Traffic Safety Bicycle Pedestrian Committee to order. I see the first, or I guess the second number on our agenda is volunteer appreciation, and we have Robin Wilson here.
I am here on behalf of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee to say thank you to all of you for all of the work you do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That being said, we have sweets for you. Don't worry about the sugar or the fat. It's all okay.
And it's all dietary.
Yeah,
that's right.
It has no calories.
That's right. We're making up for all the other meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys.
She's so much better than Larry coming in.
I'm going to tell Larry you said that.
Well,
Tell Larry that they
before we get too far down, I just want to comment that as anyone who's watching this can see that we are socially distancing. I don't know how many people make it on the screen at one time, but that camera will be moving a lot, I guess, tonight. So. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the March 2020 meeting.
I move we approve the March minutes.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor of approving the March 2020 minutes, say aye. Aye.
I abstained since I was not there.
Okay. All right, well, any nays? Seeing none, it looks like it passes. Here you go, Hershey. Okay, the next item is the appearance of interested citizens, which is a time for the general public to come and talk about any issue that is not on the agenda. Seeing none, I think we'll move on to the next item, which is the Sidewalk Connectivity Project Report and Review. And who is presenting that?
Well, I think that would be Stephen, right? Or weren't you all kind of working on that?
Yeah, well, I think we all are supposed to have suggestions.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. Yes, nobody sent me anything, so I don't have a compilation.
Yes, on
When did you do it? Send it to me.
God, it had to have been April.
Well, I can look and see.
I see you got Windsor Island down here.
Yeah. On this map here?
Well, that map just came out yesterday.
Oh. What is this map?
This little map is,
That was sent to you, and it's part of, what was that, Stephen, the TAC? SCATs, yeah.
Yeah, I sent something in April with pictures and everything.
Okay, and I probably have it in a file for sidewalks, but I didn't, it's been so long, I didn't print it out. But you're the only one, I think. Did you send me something? Okay, got two
Yeah, I
different
saw
things.
yours.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
I have a list that is like 2 sides long, but I wanted to see what other folks had before I bombarded you with that.
Well, send it to me, and if there's any duplication, I will,
Okay.
I haven't even tried to figure out a table because I haven't gotten enough information from the whole group to see what sort of information is going to get to me and how I'm going to put it in the table. So
Well-
if everybody,
If you get that to everybody and then get that to me.
Okay.
This is sort of in my missing link neighborhood connectivity bailiwick, and I want to see what people are proposing, what we have in the existing transportation plan.
Stephen?
What the SCATS plan.
is your light on in your,
Is it, oh, no, it's not. Is it, there it is.
there you go. Okay,
Okay.
that's better. Thank you. Sorry.
Anyway, what you all propose, what we have in the existing city transportation plan, what the SCATS plan has, because they have an inventory of projects that are in the works, and then maybe collate all of that and bring that back to the committee and say, well, here's kind of the lay of the land where things stand. How do we want to go forward in either championing or proposing or promoting any individual processes, taking into account the budgetary limitations that I think the city and other entities are going to be facing in the post-COVID environment.
Budget's gonna be a real problem for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Debbie, if we get that list together, would we be able to print it out on one of these big sheets of paper?
Sure,
for
I can do
everyone?
that.
Okay.
Mhm.
That'd
Yeah.
be-
Mine are sitting on my desk.
Okay, yes, if everybody will
I
send
got
me
my
that stuff, I'll
computer
get
to
it
work.
put together.
I'll resend my stuff, but there's been some changes on the Windsor Island area just this last week in that there's a house that's being rebuilt
And they had,
and they have put sidewalks in front of the house. So there's no sidewalk, no sidewalk.
Chunk of sidewalk.
Well,
And this is just all on the east side of Windsor Island.
so there was a sidewalk there before?
No?
Oh, because I thought they didn't have to do that.
Well,
I don't think they do, but maybe they did.
They
what's
chose.
the one that runs right from Park Meadow to Clear Lake Road at the right next, parallels River Road, the main street?
Wheatland?
No, Wheatland's up high, one right next to River Road.
Jerry.
No, wait,
Way up north.
Berta?
No,
way up there?
I can't remember, I'm on it all the time. Which one?
Clear Lake?
No, between Clear Lake and Park Meadow, right?
O'Neill?
Right, O'Neill.
River and Wheatland.
O'Neill's the one that has the same thing, sidewalk, no sidewalk, sidewalk. But what's really interesting, if you look at the detail, the property lines go like this, all up and down that street. There's no straight, right, Mike? Is there
Yeah,
two or
well-
three houses whose property, they think their property line anyway?
There's a certain threshold with how many feet in a public improvement, and then
Yeah.
it dictates whether they need sidewalk or not. And that one, I'm not really part of the project on Alexis on Windsor Island Road, but maybe that house must meet that threshold, and that's why there's sidewalk out
You know,
out there. I haven't.
You know where all the Habitat for Humanity houses were built?
Yeah,
In that street?
the
It's the
Marshmallow
street.
Street.
Yeah, it's at the end of that street.
I just remember that
On
one
Windsor
house.
Island.
I just remember that one house off of, gosh, what is that now? The one that, from Cherry to Dearborn was that street.
Cherry did,
Thorman.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Thorman, and there's that cross street there, which I'm also blanking on. But when they built a new house there, the city didn't require a sidewalk there, and I don't remember if there was a threshold. Like, I don't know if it was a amount of construction or,
Yeah, I'm not sure, that's out of my.
yeah. Obviously, I'm forgetting everything tonight, so.
This is the whole region.
Okay, well,
Yes.
so if we can get everything, do we want everything to go to Debbie first? Is that how
Yeah,
we
I
do-
think that'd be
Okay,
the
so everything
best.
goes to Debbie first, and Debbie will do her magic, and,
I'll take some new pictures of this new section too, of that's,
Okay.
okay.
Am I correct? Does everybody agree that Tremel and River Road's city center?
Yeah,
Is everybody in agreement with that?
well, when I was on transit board, when we were looking for a transit center, geographically, it was told to us that is the center of Kaiser.
Okay, I just didn't know, I looked around and didn't find any, specifically anybody ever said this is city center. But that's, so when we talk about walking, biking, petting, whatever, driving even, getting to city center, that's where we're going. Not necessarily, someplace else, or the courthouse, or
High school.
the high school, or whatever.
okay.
And the town's not bound, yeah, it's not, is it physically?
It's
That's-
not, I don't think it's a
Pretty much
geographic
about
center.
it really is about the center of the area. Okay, but
Okay.
not the center of the businesses, yeah,
No.
okay.
Okay, let's move on then to our project reports. Pat's not here yet, so we'll bump past her for the moment. Wayne, you have an ODOT Community Path Program.
I'm sorry, I really don't. I have just not
Well, I
done
imagine
anything
it's
there.
tough to get a hold of people these days.
I haven't even tried, so shame on me.
Well, Stephen, you have the connectivity and missing link. Do you have anything
Yeah,
else
and
to
I think
report?
basically, what I've said so far,
Okay.
yeah, not much more than that. But I
Sure.
think that there's some interesting things in the SCATS survey and report. Do we know, and I wasn't able to listen in on the meeting that was held a couple of days ago, that these minutes, that the agenda came from, what the status of this thing is, because I think Kathy Lincoln's email indicated that this was a draft report, and I think that was also reflected in the minutes, so I don't know. Anybody knows? Like, I can follow up then with that committee and find out where things are.
One thing, it's not a sidewalk thing, but I think it's a connectivity and a school-related thing. When I was looking for my list of sidewalks, the Claggett Creek Middle School and the, what's the elementary school?
Weddell.
Well, thank you. I am forgetting everything tonight. Weddell, there's that wetland that's behind it, and I'll get the information to you, but I'll have to look to see if it's, I know it's a mitigation wetland, if there's a possibility of doing some type of footpath on a boardwalk or something to help kids get to the school a little safer.
Yeah.
So my point with that is maybe we need to look, not just at a sidewalk thing, but try and have a bigger scope. Okay, moving on. I guess, are you ready to talk about projects, or do you want us to circle back to you? Pat?
Sidewalk connectivity?
You have the parkway path signage and the public outreach trash receptacles. But if you have anything else about the connectivity too, you can talk about that.
You know, the two.
Microphone, Pat, your microphone,
It's over here.
sorry.
The couple of places this is like what we noticed in our own neighborhood, opportunities for, yeah. Well, one in my neighborhood would be the sidewalks along Manbrin, which does have sidewalks, but they're really beat up, narrow, and usually half obstructed by bushes. And I think that is kind of one of our, if we think about a walking network throughout the city, that's a key street that should have good sidewalks. So I think that
Did you
needs
say Mandarin or
Manbrin.
Thank you.
Manbrin on the west side of River Road.
Thank you.
Another place, and this is really a traffic safety thing, more so, not necessarily a sidewalk, but a connectivity, which is, I think it's Rivercrest at that point, between north of Jack Street to Glenwood on the very west. The road is 2 lanes wide. It just suddenly drops a lane as you approach from Glenwood to Jack Street. You can see that's kind of a hazardous place, especially at night, especially for somebody that doesn't know that's going to happen. And you can see that the wheel ruts there where people just run off into the dirt and then realize that there was no continuation of the lane there. So I've always thought that should be tapered or striped, something to either add the pavement and add the striping to make that a more safer transition from the 2 lane to the 1 lane of pavement in that area. I think that's Rivercrest in that part, right? It goes Willamette, Rivercrest, and then
where it narrows down just before their Paul's Park.
yes, exactly. So that was another place near my home that I think would be, and that would benefit bicycling. It's not so much a pedestrian one, though. Bicycles or cars, safety issue there. And then the third one that I think of goes back to our River Road and the crossings thing, and that would be a crossing at Apple Blossom, Plymouth area. And there's bus stops and there's stores and there's apartments in that area, and it's a place that people need to cross, but difficult, and that would need a pedestrian island well placed there to help. So those are the 3 that I came to my mind.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the other thing yet now, or do you want to wait till the
Park-
staff, the committee member input?
Yeah, so parkway path signage and the trash receptacle, I don't have any progress on either of those two.
Okay. All right, we'll bounce back to Hirsch.
McNary's bike rack, everything is on standby for the rack. As their construction is getting nearer completing, I've touched base on and off with Eric Jesperson, the principal, so it's on the docket. It's just a matter of time. They have a lot of other things on their minds right at the moment. Now, I do have, and it's on hold, a bike repair station in my garage that is
Still in your garage?
it's still in my garage. I want to get it up to Kennedy Elementary.
You know, you leave it there long enough, you might get your bike fixed.
Yeah. It's self-fixing bikes. Talked with the principal there. Again, they're waiting for their project to start, which sounds like this summer. Do you know anything about Kennedy Elementary's bond project, Mike?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I got the impression it was going to be starting this summer, and then we can match up to figure out where we'd like to put it between the school and the Boys and Girls Club. And Mike, they'll probably use you as a technical advisor.
Yeah, happy to help out.
Okay.
And they'll be the ones installing it.
That was my understanding. Right now, Transit had it as surplus, and it was in their storage shed. And I'm talking with Roxanne Betts from Transit. I felt it better to get it out of the, in somewhere, otherwise it would have went gone.
I'm glad you did.
So we do have that. Now, Plan B is if Kennedy doesn't, it's not a go for Kennedy. Plan B would be to come back to the committee, because I know early on we had some suggestions of like Kaiser Rapids Park, or maybe one of the other communities or neighborhood. I know Southeast Kaiser had mentioned, oh, we could put it there. So that's kind of Plan B. It's not, there's no intention of it to staying in my garage. Marianne started hanging Christmas stuff on it, so I know it's got to go. So that's on that project.
Okay, well, good. So that would lead me for the NACDO discussion. I have nothing at the moment. And I had also been with the trees as strategically placed trees for shade, which prevent blinding of drivers and pedestrians and bicyclists. Part of the basically street trees program, if we could become part of that. And with all that said, no progress on that either. So that will lead me to Jamie.
And I have no progress either, no. Well, I know what we said, I'll just reiterate where we were at last, is we were going to hold off and come with a good list and start numbering them. And then kind of coincide with what Stephen is doing to, when I get that number of what we're gonna do, we're gonna take the next year to really hone in, write our paperwork up, and submit it to Safe Routes to School for the grant. We're gonna try our best to not ask for much from the budget, but at least present it there for the grant to be written. So I think that we keep moving forward, and over the next 2 months, I think we'll develop our list, and then we can start in the winter time probably putting together what we're going to present so that we can go ahead and.
Were you able to watch that online?
I didn't, so.
I watched it, and I learned a little more than I did from our process. So that I think it's correct that we need to get our
Our hands around it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think we'll just continue to move forward, and once we get this first list taken care of, then we can divvy it out between the 3 areas that we think we can pull money from, ones that's already been done, ones that are on the spreadsheet to start next, and then what we see are surrounding our schools would kind of, I think, bump us up to which ones we'll start and ask for in the grant.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I guess we can jump to the next number, 7, committee member input. I'll start with you, Stephen.
Looking forward to doing more bike riding, but
Yeah.
no, nothing, I don't have anything.
Okay, Wayne?
Nothing new, but I've been doing lots of bike riding. My wife and I have new e-bikes, and we've gone over 1,000 miles in the last 9 weeks.
Wow. Are you planning on redoing that fundraiser bike ride that you did?
No,
No.
no, that was a one-time thing. That
One
was
and done.
with Dornbecker Children's Cancer Program is what it was for. And that was a one-time ride last year, Father's
Yeah.
Day.
Okay,
But we're not doing it again.
all right. Jamie?
Nothing here, just nice to see some people.
Pat?
I guess first thing I got 2 things to mention, but the first one is that I just want to announce that I guess as of after next month, I'm going to resign from this committee. I have increasing responsibilities on some other committees and things I'm in, so next month will be my last one here. For my member report, I guess it will focus on the Delight Street project. I tried to send some comments over to Mike earlier, and I then found out that the email wasn't working, so you probably got them at the very last minute, but
Still not working.
still not working. They've done some work on Delight Street there between Chamawa and Dearborn, and what I've observed is that the shoulder's been widened on the west side, and it's been widened a lot, and the cars are parking there. And that's basically what we have is a new parking area for the residents along the west side of Delight Avenue, or street, whatever. I've gone by there 5 different times, and there's anywhere from between 5 and 8 cars parked in what it was, we hoped would be something for the children to walk to school on. By comparison, each time I went by Delight Street, I also went over to Sunset Avenue, which has a different configuration. It has some room for shoulder room on each side, and on Sunset Avenue, there's anywhere between 0 or 1 cars encroaching in that shoulder area. I think those of you that have been on the committee longer know that I've objected many times to the proposed design of what is going on Delight Street, so I probably don't need to repeat my points on that. It's just that, people that know nothing about this project have come to me and say, this looks like an accident waiting to happen, and I've said, that's kind of what it looks like to me so far too, but I'm not sure if they're all the way done with the project yet. I feel bad for the neighborhood, I guess. I'm worried for the neighborhood, and I feel like they've not really received something that met what we were hoping for, which was a safer way for the children to walk to the school, because right now there's not really room to walk there, especially not room to bicycle along that stretch without the danger of getting hit by a car door, or perhaps for the children to walk along there without the danger of somebody coming out of their driveway and not being able to see the children. I think there are maybe a couple of possible things that could be done to help. either maybe restriping it to look more like Sunset Avenue would be one, or there's also thermoplastic inlay stuff that could maybe be put to identify that this is not a place to park. This is for walking. And because those visual cues are not there that I see currently. And so unless something else is different, I don't know how this is going to function once the school opens up and kids, you know, are expected to walk there. I don't know if the parents would let them walk there the way it is right now. One of my family members put a picture on Facebook about this and received a comment back from Mayor Clark that said that this was not meant for biking, it's only meant for walking. So that was news to me, because as far as I think on our committee, the neighborhood overruled us on calling it a walkway or building it as a walkway, that it was going to be built as a shared use path. So it's not sure which, you know, if it's a path, it's not designed and built like a path. If it's for walking, it's not really designed and built to be like that either. Mayor also said it's the same as what's over on Sunset Avenue, which is not right either, although maybe she just didn't know on that one. And she also said that parking was okay. So I don't know if some of these, those three things, she's made a wrong assumption or whatever, but she's probably not the only one. So I guess I'll leave it at that and sincerely hope that nobody gets hurt over there.
I have a comment on the pathway at Delight. When we were talking about this as a Safe Routes to School project, we were looking at it as a path, a multi-use path. And we were not looking at it to allow parking. And so I'm shocked to see cars in that path, and I don't think cars should be in that path. It should be a bikeway, pedestrian, multi-use path, or other forms of motion that people can use, skateboard or whatever, segways.
We wanted to get the kids
multimodal
out of the street from walking to McNary and Cummings Elementary.
And the pathway the school district is building a connecting gravel right now, pathway behind the fence, connecting the pathway to the school. And so that was the original purpose of that pathway, was to give them a place to walk and bike. But I don't want cars there, in my opinion.
Mike?
So folks, I understand your frustration. Just to be clear, it is a multi-use path. If it were just a bike lane, it would be striped differently. In a multi-use path, cars are able to park in it. Bill Lawyer has and will be addressing those issues, Pat, and your concerns, he'd be more than happy to speak with you about it, and I completely understand, and with the parking, and there is something in the works, and please just speak with him, and he can enlighten you on what his plan and what his vision for is with that. Joko is has completed the project. They did a great job. All the homeowners were happy. There's an infiltration trench on the side that gets rid of water from the street. I can't say much more on that, except I understand the concerns and what the committee here thought it was going to be and what it looks like, and there's more, I guess. I'll just leave it at that, so please talk to Bill.
Can I just ask, did I hear you right where you said cars can park on a multi-use path?
Well, it's not acceptable on a bike path, but in a multi-use, it is acceptable.
According to what?
I'll have to find it somewhere. I just know it's in a bike path, you can't park a car, so.
Or in a bike lane.
Right,
And it's not striped as a bike path, so that
right.
Well, it's
makes
not,
it a
no,
little
it's not
different.
striped.
Because if it were a bike path, you couldn't walk in it, and it's kind of a,
Yeah.
well,
Hmm.
wait a
I guess-
minute, we're trying to accomplish two things. If it's a bike path, you can't park on it, that's great, but you make it a multi-use and make the stripe smaller, now you can't
Do
ride
either.
a bike in it. I mean, they're fighting each other, kind of, so.
It just, I guess maybe I'm the only one who would think multi-use never meant including cars.
Yeah. I mean, the use, oh,
Did someone have something? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Pat.
yeah, I mean, with a car parked there, including the width of the door opening, you only have a couple feet of usable space, so.
Yeah, if we could see whatever rule or statute says that that's acceptable. I don't know if Bill would get that for us, or,
Yeah, and people that showed up at the beginning of this, and Bill spoke on it in one of these rooms here, it was asked about parking, and something may happen after we see the function and how it's being used. So, that being said, again, there's more, but that's a
Right.
Bill Lawyer thing, not a me.
So it's possible that even though there might be overall ODOT or type rules on striping, a city could establish their own for a particular locale.
Between certain hours, X, Y, Z, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Certain
Okay.
days.
and I guess because we're the situation we're in, there haven't been many kids on that path, and maybe people haven't gotten the signal yet. So maybe as school opens up, they'll start to see the main purpose of the path and be respectful of that too.
Yeah, sign it.
We can hope. Okay, I don't have anything to report right this moment.
I got several, of course.
All right.
The Peach of the Century in August has been canceled. Obviously, everybody here knows the Monster Cookie was canceled. Salem Bike Club rides were canceled up till the first of the month, so there is a Thursday night ride going on from Cummings tonight. So those rides are all started. Practicing social distancing and such for rides. Also, got a phone call from Lieutenant Trump a few weeks ago about, I need a bike for, remember the little boy that was injured in that serious bike car accident on River Road?
How
He
old
said-
is he?
6.
Oh,
And he said, could you come up with a bike? Well, if you don't know, there was a run on toilet papers and bicycles in the United States. And bikes are very hard to come by, new ones. I got several people in the Salem Bicycle Club that were more than willing to donate some money. And I think I even got something from you, Wayne, and saying, hey, oh yeah, we'll do it. Well, a gentleman, Larry Miles, called me and he said, you know, I have a bike in my garage that's a 20-inch, because Lieutenant Trump had measured the kid. And he said, I'll just donate that. It was a really nice bike. And I got one of our helmets, and I threw the $5 in to cover that. And it was, Mary Ann and I would just, the kid got on that bike, he rode around our parking lot. He was a pro on a bike. I fitted a helmet for him. It was a real positive experience. So I know this committee was really struck hard about that injury accident. He was doing everything right with his mom in the sidewalk, in the crosswalk, the whole works. He had a helmet on when he had the accident, so it was nice to be able to, he got back on the horse and rode around, so it was a real positive experience, so. Just wanted to let you guys know about it. You probably read it in the Kaiser Times, but we didn't know all, we just picked up a bike and we're bringing it to the police department. We didn't know all this was going on when we got here, so.
So I know we don't have police staff tonight, but do you know how the rest of the story has transpired? What, for the driver's side of that?
Just what I read in the paper, and there was citations, of course, and the mom kind of told me they're still dealing with insurance stuff, and Kai's still having some problems, especially emotional. He kind of has a little bit of those problems since the accident, but anything more than that, I really don't know. I don't know if went to court or anything.
Right.
That was just last October.
Yeah. Councilor Kohler, you have?
Thank you, Chair de Blasey. The traffic courts and all have been shut down for a while, and we hope to get those back up again. And so there may be some resolution for that here shortly.
Okay, thank you. David, any?
Not much. I was looking at the SCATS map. It's kind of interesting. There's some big areas, you see big areas with no red lines or gray lines. And then it dawned on me, well, that's McNary Estates and the golf course up there between Lock Haven and the city limits north. And there's hardly any kids live in McNary Estates.
However, I can report based on some friends that live there, it's becoming a bicycle racetrack.
Oh, well, as it should.
Yeah.
Because then they can race against the golf carts that are all
Yeah.
over the road.
Well, there's
anyway.
a lot of just casual bicycling going on almost daily
Yeah.
now.
But yeah, I was up where I live on that far north, peninsula, yellow area up there on Wheatland. And the routes to schools are really all paved and not heavily carred.
Traffic.
I mean, considering it's all neighborhoods, except for Park Meadow, which has a stop street right in the middle of it near the school and crossing guards both ways, so it's reasonably safe. They have a crossing guard up by my house, but I think there's only 4 kids live west of Wheatland or something like
Yeah,
that walk.
I think the big problem with that part is connected to the rest of the town.
The other part is connected to the rest, connected to your neighbor. If you want to go, you live behind me and I wanted to bicycle over to your house, I'd have to go 9 or 10 blocks.
It's good exercise.
Well, yeah, but when I first got here, I used to get lost over there between Park Meadow and Wheatland and River Road. And then, or if you go north up through all those streets up in there, Merlot and so on by the school, you get turned around, lost, dead end, one dead end after another.
Hirsch, you're on that Wheatland work group, aren't you?
Right.
Has there anything?
Oh, the main thing that did was actually review the bids and recommend a contractor.
For what?
For the Wheatland design project. It's designing, not building yet. And it will require, AKS got the contract, but it's gonna require a lot of public input from the neighborhood, from this committee. It's all written in the request. So that'll take a period of time, and right now, everybody's on hold.
Is the funding coming from a mix of state and city?
The city had some match in it, so, but the state was the overall participant in the, yeah.
And we've already committed that money? Okay. Councilor Collins?
Thank you, Chair de Blasey. The funding isn't totally secured yet for the actual work of doing the work. The money is procured for the study.
Yeah, just for the study,
Okay.
which, again, will require a lot of input from all users. You know, everything from the schools to the neighborhoods to this group, cycling groups. You know, it was even mentioned that Windsor Rock should have some input on it. It's the,
Are you
because
still,
they're,
are you still on the planning commission?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I was on the long-range planning commission. And it's interesting is that the recommendation of that commission was we do not expand the city limits or the urban growth boundary north of what it is today for 20 years. And I keep talking to people who still think they're gonna put another bridge in, it's gonna be up off, you know, somewhere up north, and Wheatland Road's gonna become a 4-lane free, anyway. That's as bad as thinking nothing will happen. But the recommendation of the committee was that we not expand that direction, and that our population growth be primarily infill. And using the property we have within the city limits. I'm not sure it got through to all of the city council that that's where we ended up, or I'm not even sure the planning commission liked the long-range planning commission's recommendations, so. But I should let you, you should know that we shouldn't experience any increase in traffic on Wheatland Road, because there's not gonna be anything north of it.
Right.
but there is gonna be significant infill, and there's already is.
Right. But that's pretty, it's pretty solid up where that neighborhood, Park Meadow up through there, there's not a lot of room. Although I was surprised they shoehorned 4 houses into 2 lots the other day, last year.
Yeah.
But still, it's a good road. I mean, it's wide and it's got bike paths and sidewalks, or inconsistent sidewalks.
Inconsistent sidewalks.
Which is part of the goal. to
Yeah.
get that.
That's one of the problems, yeah.
Yeah.
And does anybody know, and I have a question, does anybody know what Chariot's view is on pull-out bus stops? Are they against it?
Historically, the answer is yes, they're against them because it's hard for a bus to pull back in.
Back into traffic.
Back into traffic. And drivers, most of the serious accidents have occurred at those points. However, they're not opposed, you know, if you can get a well-designed one and one that is well-placed, not a problem.
And I don't mean to take somebody's property or anything, but I was in Hawaii, Honolulu, and they have lots of pullouts. And no wrecks with buses, to my knowledge. And I mean, I'm sure they do eventually, but on the whole, when the bus puts his blinker on, people in the street hit their brakes. And that's
probably some
learn,
long-term
and
education.
So anyway, you pull out, sometimes they're long, you know, they got 10, 12 people getting off and on the bus, big crowds. It's a heavy transit area. But they're pulled off, and when the last person gets, they don't even wait for you to sit. When the last person gets on, they go. And I'm sure they look, but they don't pay much attention whether there's traffic behind them, because their traffic by law is supposed to stop. And if you, according to the guy I was talking to, if you hit a bus when he's pulling out, you're gonna get ticketed.
Well, it's by law here too.
Yeah. So I also think it's one of these myths. You know, they can't come up with the statistics because we haven't had any pullouts. And we haven't really tried to educate the people that they can't just keep driving, just not play the chicken with the bus driver. So I think we should have pullouts when we can. The whole point of that is there's two only places on Wheatland Road, which would be perfect because the property's there. And
The contractor for the design is gonna be talking to Chariots, because that's their routes too, on there. So they're gonna be one of the many users that are gonna be talked to.
Okay. My computer's gone to sleep. So let me pull that up so I can see what's next on the agenda. All right. Yeah, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of updates. River Road ADA project from Claggett to Swingwood is moving along with a completion date at the end of this month. So that's the ADA ramps that are in preparation for the paving. That will start shortly after July 1st this summer. North Santiam Paving is the company that was the low bid on that. Last year, Howe paved it. This year it'll be North Santiam Paving. And about the same type of work, just a wider area, but not as long. And as far as disruptions, it should be a little better because it's more north and it's not the core of Kaiser. They will be lowering the manholes, just as the same thing that Howe did. However, there were like 80 manholes involved in that one, and I think there is 17 in this one, so it's kind of, it's nice. So
From where to where on River Road?
from Claygett, right there, I'll say 76 gas station, to just north of Swingwood, so just past B&S Market, about 250 feet to, there's a match line from where we paid, I don't know, 5 years ago maybe. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's my update on that. And also, if you guys have been around town, there's a project that started on Monday for us. It's on Shoreline in Cummings, and it's an 18-inch stormwater reroute pipe. We're taking it around the block. It currently, right now, runs through 2 properties, and K&E Contracting got the bid on that. And it's pretty amazing. It's 18 feet deep, which when you stand over and look down, it's down there a ways. So.
It's always amazing how deep those things are.
And they're making good progress. You'll find some delays right now. A little section of Shoreline is detoured in between Cummings and Raffel, and as they work their way up Cummings and they're going to head north on Shoreline, they will expand that and take up more of Shoreline to about Moneta, and it'll just be a longer detour around. And there's signs getting cars around and whatnot, so there'll be there'll be delays for the neighborhood and whatnot. But other than that, that project should be done. They're hoping end of July. However, they have till the end of August to do it, but they have a pretty aggressive plan and things are going good. So, yeah, kind of interesting. One of the machines is about 120,000 pound excavator, and the bucket on that, 2 scoops fills a dump truck. So when you see this machine next to the dump truck, like the dump truck was kind of small.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so that's little update on that. And that's what I have.
Eric, you have something?
Thank you.
I called Mike earlier about the project on River Road and the cutouts and stuff. They were putting all the signage in the bike lanes, and there was no bike in the roadway signs, and that I see that improved. However, the next thing is when they're finished, they leave the signs in the bike lane all rolled up.
Famous for that, and it's just an ongoing. You notice it gets called in. We call them.
Okay, well,
your signs, and it's as soon as it's removed, it'll happen tomorrow, and it's something.
Well, I guess as you write up your contracts, you may want it to be a little more specific on and make sure that they do that, because Mike, there's tons of cyclists out there now. I mean, the bike shops are empty. They have sold so many bikes. Trek alone is 160,000 bikes in the rears nationwide. Last Thursday night, we just generally, for our Thursday night ride, just have people, bike club members. Oh my God, we had 10 brand new people. So it's coming.
And I think people need to realize it may not change in the next year. I mean, I talked to some of my more conservative friends and saying, oh, it's over. Pandemic's done with, everything. We're gonna be back rolling by September 1st. I don't think, well, even if it does, I think people have changed, some people have changed their thoughts about biking, walking, exercise.
Even if 10% of the people stay with it, that's still a big number.
That's a lot.
And on the project on Cummings with the big holes, that's right on the scenic bikeway.
On Cummings?
Well, it's going across Shoreline, and right in, and with the state park, with the state parks opening, and It's right on the route. Have we made provisions to alert cyclists to go around, to get back onto shoreline?
Yeah, because the,
It's clearly marked how to get around.
Okay,
so.
I
yeah,
just,
but
But,
The east-west
but Mike,
part
on Hirsch's question about, couldn't this thing about the obstructions in the bike lanes be like a contract special provision? You must have other kinds of things in there where they can't leave bollards and stuff like that in the middle of a travel lane, so it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, it's in there and you're not supposed to, however.
There,
The
no
guys get
penalty?
Excuse me? No, I don't think there's a penalty, but as soon as we find out about it, we immediately call the
no,
contractor
you know,
and we get
Mike
it.
took care of it real quickly, but, you know, I don't want to be the only one running around looking,
Yeah.
watching for that.
Yeah.
I think
It just happens to be on our Thursday night route that we run into these things, and
what's the east-west part of the scenic bikeway, is that Sam Orcutt? It goes up by Columbia Bank,
no,
up to Cherry?
Cherry to Mandarin, and Mandarin right over to Shoreline.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, okay, that's right, Mamre, that's
Yeah.
what Columbia Bank is, I got the
Yeah.
streets mixed up. Sam Orcutt's up by
Yeah.
Weimar.
So when they head out, they'll just go past Cummings and then they'll head north on River.
Long as it's
And
marked
that'll-
as,
Yeah, and that'll get you around back onto Shoreline and north.
now, State Parks has not hired for that position for the scenic bike coordinator, so there's really, in that, the manager over that position hasn't been hired either, so there's really nobody to contact there to say, hey, could you put this on your website that we're doing this work here?
And they just reorganized the whole thing, anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
so but I think in the future, it'd be nice just to have a record that we've alerted state parks so they can put that on their website. This area is under construction, follow the new detour.
Sounds good.
So Mike, is there anything in the queue that's at the early stage projects that could be shown to us for input?
Nothing right now except for what we have out there and then the future planning for the Wheatland Road
Right.
and the Verta improvements, which are kind of not even really in the works, but down the road, so not right now, no.
Okay. All right, so we don't have Officer Leday, so we'll move to our counselor, Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Mr. de Blasi. Mike, you took most of the stuff I was going to talk about. So the Verta Lane repaving project study has been approved. So the funding for the study has been approved, and that probably will happen late this year, maybe early next year. That's when that'll start. The funding for that, for the whole project hasn't been approved, but we anticipate that happening. SCAT's been working on that and the funding. They hope to begin the work on that in 2022. And there was a good article on the Kaiser Times, Hirsch, on the bike. That was nice.
Everything came into line real quickly.
Yes. The remodeling at the high school is moving faster than expected because they don't have a bunch of kids to work around. And so that's one positive thing that's been going on. So that's a good positive thing. So I just want to say I appreciate the work that y'all do, and please don't be afraid to call and let's talk about stuff if you need to. I've got notes here to take back to the next council meeting. We'll talk about stuff and move forward, but thank you for all you do. Any questions about anything?
The budget passed?
The budget passed. We don't know if we'll have any money, but with the budget passed.
It's on paper. Okay, well, if anyone else has any comment before?
Thank God we're in an area with property taxes instead of sales tax.
Yeah.
May I
I
just
see somebody
comment?
ducking for cover, I think Florida is all sales tax and no income tax, a little teeny property tax. And so when you lose 75% of your business for 4 months, you lose, what was like 20% of their taxes they collect.
Right, their income.
They've lost 20% of it already. Talk about people making cuts. The schools are talking about cutting back 50% of their teaching staff. I don't know if they will, but you know.
Counselor Kohler, you have something else?
Thank you, Chair de Blasi. Committee Member Davis, you comment, did the budget pass? Well, yes, we did get the budget passed. And in Kaiser, we're very fortunate. We've got some good people that work on this budget and they watch our expenses very, very closely. The other thing that's good is we don't have a lot of public things like Parks and Rec Department where we're doing a whole bunch of sports things and things. So our outlay of dollars and cents to some of those projects are non-existent for Kaiser. So comparatively speaking, you compare us to where Woodburn is right now, we're in much, much better financial shape than Woodburn is. And we're probably gonna come through this okay because of the work of some of those people and because we don't have huge commitments for some of those expenditures like other cities do.
Thank you.
And we're starting to get some payback off Kaiser Station, isn't that true?
A little bit, yeah.
A little, not what we
Right.
thought.
We have some other properties that you'd like to get
That we
leased out
permitted
there,
out.
which
In
would
and
help us
out.
a bunch.
We're gonna tax in and out twice.
If we just tax the parking, just the line. to in and
Just
out.
the line, yeah. Charging by the minute. Okay, well, thank you. And our next meeting is July 9th. I will actually be out of town that week.
Yeah, I am too. Is that going
I
to
was
be
gonna
a
take a
problem?
cruise, but
Down the Willamette?
I want to cancel the July meeting?
Well,
It's something that the committees a lot of times do in the summer.
yeah, well, I don't want to, since we've been so
for
non-meeting for so long, I don't want to lose any momentum that we've.
Well, and it'll be Pat's last, so we definitely
Right.
want to see her
We
here.
want to be able.
well, we can, let's wait and see.
Okay,
Well, because
You're
Yeah,
going
that's
out-
a good idea.
four of us.
Yeah, I can make it.
that's a
We
good
can see,
idea.
maybe a short meeting, but, you never know when somebody's gonna come in and have a complaint and
Back a
then
week or something.
say, well, the committee didn't.
Can we change the date?
There
I
are
like the
not,
ninth.
no, there's no other Thursdays. And Wednesdays are full of, let's see, you could do it July.
Well, we could be like the House, you could give me
Well,
your
if you
vote.
wanted to do it on a Friday, you could.
No. We can do it, we'll be okay. It's a big-
Friday would be, that week would be tough
And
for
if
me.
we change it, we
Okay,
have to go
yeah.
through the public notification.
Yeah, I don't wanna do that. We'll be okay, we'll figure, we won't do anything significant, how's
Just
that?
check in with us. I might be able to swing it because we are coming back that day, so I might be back
Right. I come back.
a little
on the-
darker.
I'm coming back the 10th, so I know I
It's
won't be
okay.
able to make it. All right, well, we'll stick with the 9th, and,
Do we have any to-dos?
well, to-dos is get stuff to Debbie for Stephen. And then, well, of course, all of our projects that we had on the list that we need to.
Since
You
we
know,
are
I'm gonna
not
keep
doing
pushing
so well,
forward
I
for
can-
that because I can't move
check with
until
her.
we get that list
Yes,
together.
so keep
Well-
everybody, keep looking at your sidewalks. If you've already sent me some, you can still send me more. Okay?
And I think it might be beneficial if we want to have some meeting once everyone gets everything to Debbie, and Debbie gets everything to Stephen. Maybe have some meeting, because we're allowed to do that outside of these, since we're not.
Not a quorum, you're not.
No, but like Stephen
two
and
people.
Jamie could meet
Yeah.
together
Yes.
and talk
Mhm.
about getting things lined up.
Yeah, if whatever comes in to you can go to both Jamie and to me.
Okay.
And I guess anybody else who
Well,
wants.
I definitely want the group to be able to talk it over, the numbering of what we
But I
consider.
think just in terms of sort of
Okay,
collating and.
Yeah, and.
High
sounds good.
priority areas.
Okay,
Hirsch had something else.
This is, and this will involve Mike. I would like to pursue, not this year, but get data now and information and put in an application for bicycle-friendly city for next year, not this year, because I don't think we could get all the stuff in by August. And we have some new information. We have a safe routes coordinator now, which is, and a proposed program for our schools in this area. So once McCrae Carmichael, who's the person, she would have had a thing done by now, but with school out, that would impact, I think, our ranking.
We made
We
honorable
did pretty
mention or
good.
something, all right? We want to go for the bronze level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, and we're talking about doing what we did last time this committee, subcommittee, could do some of the work. I think we have the application details still, Mike.
Yeah.
So all we have to do is just upgrade that and submit it next summer. Not this summer, but next summer.
Did you talk to the Chamber of Commerce last time?
No, I
Did
didn't.
anybody make a presentation to the chamber?
No, but I'm going to. This
Well, I
time.
mean, I couldn't remember if we did or not.
No.
but-
I talked to a couple people, but no presentation.
Okay. Is there somebody from did they hire scenic bike?
No, they have
Did
not, they have not hired the manager for that position or that position right
Okay.
now.
So when that happens, that would be
Another
that
good,
would be one of their jobs, would be like to talk to the chamber or something.
about the scenic bikeway,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
said, oh, yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, if they, it's hard right now with the state to hire anything, especially with the budget shortfalls that are starting, they might not even fill the position, so.
Yep.
But I thought I'd bring that up to the committee, and I'm more than willing to put that on my docket as something to pursue.
Well, I think, something like that would be maybe a one person as that's their role, but certainly having another
I think
member.
last time Pat and John Henry, we got together and kind of.
Subcommittee,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Hirsch, and I will call this meeting to close.